To the tens of people that are going to watch this video to find an idea to make their Uber and Lyft rides better, greetings, my name is Ryan Vining. I've been doing Uber and Lyft since 2017. I've done over 3,000 rides with a 5-star rating on Lyft and a 4.97 on Uber. I've tried many ideas in that time to leave an impression with the passengers, most of which didn't work out, but the one that did and was absolutely amazing was the passenger-facing music phone. Now, I'm going to give you the short version first, and for the people that need a little bit more information and background, I'll have the long version for that afterwards. So the short version is you set up a Wi-Fi hotspot from your main phone, you connect to it with the back of the drawer phone that you set up to be your music phone, and then have it connect to your car via Bluetooth. Passengers can get in, put on whatever music they want, have a good time, leave, give you better tips. It's not 1,000 times better tips, but it's a little bit better tips, and it's more than enough to pay for the party. Now, for the long version of it, the first thing you're going to need is an extra phone. What this is what I call a back of the drawer phone. So if you've got new phones, the old phone might have gotten a little cracked screen, you don't use it anymore, you pull it out, you give it a factory reset to get rid of all of the data, and then you manually go on to Wi-Fi and install the music app of choice. Now, if you don't have one of these, you almost certainly have a friend that does. So just ask around. You could buy one, I suppose, but you can get one of these things for free pretty easily. Any kind of smartphone will do. It doesn't have to have any crazy features, just the ability to connect to a Wi-Fi hotspot and Bluetooth really is all you're going to need. Now, the second thing you're going to need is a Wi-Fi hotspot. Now, your phone service provider may already provide you with a free Wi-Fi hotspot, or you may already be paying for it if you use it for other things. If you don't have one, or if you don't want to pay for it, there are some alternatives. Now, with companies like Metro PCS and Cricket Wireless, they normally charge you an extra fee for a Wi-Fi hotspot, but sometimes if you're bringing in a third-party phone into the service, it will still work with the hotspot even if you're not paying for it, but that is not 100% guaranteed. There's also a third-party app that's called PDANet that you can use for free that can generate a Wi-Fi hotspot that you can connect to with another device, but both apps do have to have the PDANet app for it to work to be able to make that bridge, and also that's not going to work on every single phone either. Also, there's some bandwidth limitations on the free version where it'll run out after a while, but if you try it out and you like it, then you can pay like $5 one time and get it infinite. What I ended up doing, I did all of those things, but most recently I changed over to Mint Mobile because they have a free Wi-Fi hotspot and it was cheaper anyway, and so that just worked out. But there are some other options available if you just don't have it for free. Now, the next thing you're going to want to consider is how do you want to attach it to your car. What I ended up using here was a magnet that I attached to the back of the seat with double-sided tape, and then I have a magnet on the back of the phone as well, so it has a double attractive property. It makes it pretty tough. If you do this, make sure that the magnets are aligned correctly before you attach them, because if you have them flipped around backwards, that can make them repulse each other instead of attract. Now, I don't recommend doing anything that's going to permanently attach to the car, or not permanently attached, but have a rigid structure. I don't even like using this as a charger here because, let's face it, most of the passengers don't wear their seatbelts, and if they go flying into the back of the seat, if there's an accident, if they hit something rigid in the center, that's going to really mess them up, and then you're going to have to explain to an insurance adjuster or a judge like why you have this thing where they could just easily smash their face into it. Another alternative is putting it on the center console. It's a little bit harder to reach and out of the way, but you definitely won't have to worry about any kind of accidents. Just make sure that it's not going to interfere with the opening and closing of the console if that's something that you need. Your mileage may vary based on your car. Now, the next question that you may have is, what kind of streaming service should you use? I experimented with a lot of them. I tried Spotify, tried Apple Music, Pandora, Deezer even, and even Amazon Music, and just to see how easy was it for the passenger to get in, be able to find the songs they want and play them. And it seemed to me that Spotify ended up being the clear winner. It's the easiest one to use. It always has the songs that they want. Well, not always, but for the most part, it seems to come out to be the better choice. You can use whatever you want. That's just from my personal experience. None of this is sponsored, just all trial and error. One more thing to consider before you do this is the time of day that you drive and the types of passengers you get. I found that if I'm doing daytime driving, very few passengers can be bothered to even put on a song that they like. They just seem to be too stressed out and they just don't even care. Driving at night, it seems to be a much bigger hit, especially if you're taking someone out to the clubs, to the bars, or picking them up from there. If you get groups of people, they tend to really like it a lot. And if you get college people, they freak the fuck out. They get really excited to be able to just play their own music because they're like they've never seen it anywhere before. I've been doing this in DFW again since 2017, and there's never been another person that I've heard of from passengers that has done this. The one exception is a friend of mine who I gave the idea to, that so he does it as well. So if you do this, you're gonna have some happy passengers and a good time. Now, that's all the main information on how this goes. If you want to stick around for the history lesson of how this idea came about, feel free. If not, click off, and go with my blessings. If you like this, give it a like. If you want to see more information, subscribe. I think I'm going to do another video on the economics of Uber and Lyft, from the hybrid car to the Tesla, which is my new car that I'm trying out now. And if you want to see those videos when they come out, go ahead and hit a subscribe. So the idea started back in 2017 when I first started driving for Uber. They had a program at that time with Pandora where if you had a Pandora playlist and your passenger had a Pandora playlist, you could set it up so that when they got in the car, their Pandora playlist could override yours so they could listen to their music. The problem is that literally no one ever did this. It seemed like a nice idea, but no passengers knew about it. They didn't do it. I think maybe one passenger did it one time, but that might just be a fever dream that I had. I don't even know. But I like the idea of the passenger playing music, but it just didn't come to fruition. So the first idea I had was I took an old tablet and I just like downloaded 1,000 songs on it and I stuck it back there for them to play. But that didn't really work out because even if you get it doesn't matter how many songs you have, you're either going to have to constantly be getting new songs or you're not going to have the songs that they like. And so like after like a day of that, I'm like, okay, that's not going to work out. So the next idea, I actually just added a phone onto my plan. So I had an extra phone. It had a phone number. It had its own data stream. It could get music directly, and I think it was still Pandora or Spotify. This is when I started trying out other music services, and so I didn't have to worry about running a hotspot or any of that. It could just go Bluetooth directly to the car, and then I could change back and forth the Bluetooth between my phone and that phone as I wanted. So when the passenger was out, I could switch over to my phone, listen to what I wanted, or listen to an audiobook, which I usually would listen to when there's no passenger, and then I could just switch it back for them. Of course, then you're paying for an extra phone, and if you've already have 3 phones and you're adding a 4th one, it's still only $10 a month. It's not bad, but I like to save money. So I started brainstorming the Wi-Fi ideas, and at the time I was either Metro PCS or Cricket or whatever, and I found through sheer accident that by bringing a phone from one company over to the other when I switched plans, even if I wasn't paying for the hotspot because they were charging like $20 a month for that at the time, I'm not sure what they're charging now. I could do the hotspot without having to pay for it, so it worked out great. But then as time went on in switching plans, eventually got to the point where that didn't work. And it might just be the phone, they might have caught wind of it and upgraded their system. I don't know. But I still didn't want to pay for a hotspot, so I looked around for options and I found a program called PDANet. So I could set that up on my main phone, I could set that up on the music phone, and I could create a Wi-Fi hotspot directly through them for free and just do that. And it worked out really well for a while, and then I was driving so much I was hitting bandwidth limitations where it's part of the free version of it. They'd say, after so much you'd have to turn it off and back on again. But I felt I'd gotten enough value out of it that I was willing to pay the $5 or $7 or whatever it was just to go ahead and get the paid version of it and not have to worry about that. So it just kind of worked. Every once in a while, it would have problems where I'd have to reset the program, and so I was kind of doing my own tech support and troubleshooting, which was kind of a pain in the butt. But again, I was too cheap to want to pay for a hotspot. And then the PDANet stopped working on a new phone that I got. Like my old music phone died. I think the battery eventually gave out because it was an old phone, and I pulled out another out of the drawer phone, and it wasn't compatible with PDANet. But at the same time that but at this point, my wife got a phone through her work, which was on a different plan, and so I could remove her from it. And then I started looking around now that I was down to a single phone, where the best place to go was, and I found Mint Mobile. because it was pretty dang cheap. Plus, it had free Wi-Fi hotspots. I'm like, okay, so I tried that out. It worked out great, and that's what I've been using for the last couple months.